Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Berto Willis, your host. Thank you so kind for being part of the show. Thank you very much for being here. I know you are at home. I know you are bored. I know you want to get some good info. I know you want to be all those things all at once. Well, you know what? We're going to be hitting things hard today. Yes, we are. But we are also going to be, giving some inspiration. I get inspirations from some of the many strangest of places, So just to get the program started, right? Just to get us in the right frame of mind, what I want to do is talk to you about a donkey, all right? Let's talk about a donkey. Let's talk about opinions. And then after this, we'll get back into business. Welcome aboard, El Señor Rodnin. El Señor Rodnin. Oh, Rodnin thinks the opening song is now awful. Well, we got into some copyright issues even though we paid for it. So all we did is, actually, what you're telling me, Mr. Rodnin, is that my musical skills are defeated or depleting because that is me creating my own opening song. Anyhow, folks, let's go ahead and what I want to do is get you started with a particular entry. So here we go, and then we'll take it from there on. Here we go. I'm not a religious guy, but you know what? I listen to everybody. I'm a humanist, and one of the things that I've always said, I love everybody, and I like everybody to get a word in. I like to take advice from just about everybody. And on Sundays after I listen to my news show, it sort of bleeds into Joel Osteen. And Joel Osteen is a preacher, one of the most popular preachers in the country. And a lot of people don't like him. Some people like him. I am really agnostic about him. But like I said, whenever somebody has a great message to partake, I think it is important that we all hear it. I think it's important that we all listen to it, irrespective of where it comes from, as long as it's an honest message. I want you to listen to this. It's about the donkey.
If someone gets offended because you're not taking their advice, that's not your problem. People will try to keep you in their box, in who they want you to be. There was this grandfather. He and his small grandson were taking a trip into town. He started off letting the grandson ride the donkey. He was walking alongside. Someone passed by and said, "Look at that selfish little boy making that old man walk." He took the boy off and put him on the ground. He got on the donkey. The boy was walking alongside. Somebody passed by and said, "Look at that man making that little boy walk while he rides." He picked the boy up and put him on the donkey with him. Few minutes, someone passed and said, "How cruel of the two of you to place that heavy load on the donkey." By the time they got to town, the grandfather and grandson were carrying the donkey. Everybody has a right to have their opinion, and you have the right not to take it. No matter what you do, someone is not going to understand. Are you carrying the donkey? Are you being pressured into doing what people want you to do? Not want to disappoint anything? It's time to put the donkey down. The donkey doesn't look good on you. Start running your own race.
I could not agree more. I do a whole lot of politics, and one of the things that I think affect us the most is that we are so concerned about other people's opinions that many times we don't do right. Many times we don't do right by the issues. We don't do right by our brothers and sisters because it doesn't seem to be the prevailing opinion. What we all have to get to, especially in these times, is to do what we know is right, irrespective of what are they going to say or can we get it done. No. We do what is right and we work to get it done. Great message, Joel Osteen. But anyhow, one of the reasons that I wanted to play that piece is a lot of what happens to us, right, is we all know what's right. We all know what we need to do. We all know what's good. And welcome aboard Troy Astro. Welcome aboard Bruce Pollard. Welcome aboard Haiti Lescan. Welcome aboard Michael Rudnin. I think I spoke to you before. Phaedra Barker. Welcome aboard. Hey, for those, some of you are, well, specifically, Brother Rudnin said that he doesn't like the entry song. As I said, we got into some copyright issues, even though we paid for that song with YouTube. So anybody who thinks they want to have a challenge for a song or create a challenge or something for the entry song to Politics Done Right, and let's go ahead and do it sort of a raffle, an entry or whatever, and let the song be yours. In other words, what's going to happen is Politics Done Right, new song from whoever composed it with a little addendum stating, and this song was provided to Politics Done Right, copyright free by some great person who listens to the show and wants to have a better piece of music going. So let's go ahead and talk about doing that. Anyhow, today's show. What is today's show called? Coronavirus shows for who they care. Let's care for us. Let's care for us. Now, the coronavirus has Americans in their second week of lockdown. Many are suffering as we help each other. Our politicians continue using the pandemic to enrich and protect a few with their corporate stimulus. Yes, with their corporate stimulus. Anyhow, folks, sí, señor Troy Astro, yo soy panameño de Panamá, así que eso es el acento que puedes oír también. All right, folks. So anyhow, moving on. This is what I wrote. A large percentage of Americans are at home. My heroes. Who are my heroes? Who should be our heroes? Garbage collectors, nurses, doctors, medical personnel, grocery store employees, firefighters, police officers who don't murder or disrespect POCs, utility workers, repair persons, delivery persons, and those out there I have forgotten to mention. To all you guys out there, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You are all heroes. You are all our heroes. Not my heroes. You are all our heroes. Because, when we run out of, right now we're all hidden at home. We're all doing, we're all staying home with nothing, with a lot of people with nothing to do. A lot of people trying to do things they hadn't done before. But these guys are still out there making society work for us. So we owe them a big thank you. So what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about? It's very important that we understand what's going on, folks. I want to read something that I wrote on my Facebook page for everybody to see. And not everybody is, click on this stuff. So I want to go ahead and pull it up real quickly because we have to understand what is going on here. And I'm looking for it as we speak. Because it was one of those nights where, you're sitting down at night in darkness and you start to ponder what's going on. And then you realize, you know what? You have something that you really need people to think about. And as I'm rambling here, I'm trying to find it. You know how sometimes that goes, you put the stuff on and then for some reason you can't find it, or for some reason maybe somebody deleted it or you deleted it, or here we go. I think I found it. Here's what I said. You know what is sad? I'm writing blogs for that touch on aspects of COVID-19. Whereas in the past I could consider using the CDC as the definitive source, I find myself looking elsewhere because of the loss of trust in every institution under the executive branch of government, Trump's domain. Folks, I never expected that the sycophants would have made the transition as easily as they did. Ben Carson is a doctor who've advised, he's currently advising the continuation of Trump rallies. Must I say more? As I am locked up for the next few weeks, There's a lot to ponder. As someone who chose this country because of what it used to be, the slide has been phenomenal. We just can't let it stand. I repeat my motto: political involvement should be a requirement for citizenship. What do I mean by that? Right now, there's a stimulus going on in Congress. We are all sitting back here waiting, or wonder what are they going to do, or wonder what are they going to give us, or wonder what are they going to do. We have to start putting in our heads that we don't wait for somebody to give us something. We go out there and start telling them what they ought to do, as they are those who represent us. Be involved, folks. A bunch of guys in Congress are deciding how they are going to make things right from the coronavirus pandemic to economic collapse. Let your voice be heard. The collapse was unnecessary. It is a failure of our economic system and its priorities that are ultimately responsible for the spread of the virus and ultimately the economic collapse. When an economic system is based on a gamble and favors capital over humanity, a pandemic takes on a life of its own, while the powerful take their time to see how best to profit from it. This is not an accident, folks. This is not an accident. Once again, good people will lose much, as the reinflation of the economy only make the controllers whole, as we all pay for it. But wait. This only occurs if we allow insanity to reign, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Let us stop being pawns. So, my question to all of you: are you ready? Are you ready for us to take up directions and make sure these things don't continue? Are you ready? Are you ready to make sure that this stimulus package looks like what we need? Are you ready? I mean, we talk about a big stimulus that's being done right now. It's not the only stimulus that's going to be done. It's going to be going over and over again. Folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to share. So right after I wrote that, it was about time for me to go ahead and do my treadmill. I was working kind of late. So I started doing my treadmill late, and that was, I don't know, early in the morning. So I wrote another little thing that said, what did I write? Let me see if I can find that one. I'm about to go do my treadmill, but want to leave you all with one more thought. While COVID-19 was a component in the stock market collapse, it is not the full story. There was a lot going on before, read repo market and more, that would have created a collapse after the election. And for those of you who don't know, the repo market is that market that these banks go ahead into the market after they loan money out during the days. All their books have to balance at the end of the night. And to balance a book at the end of the night, they borrow from other banks to make sure that their books at the end of the night is balanced. That interest rate has been going way up. That tells you that banks are charging more to other banks for money, which means they believe these other banks are not the most stable. So the market, or rather the Feds jumped into the market, Reserve jumped into the market and started throwing trillions of dollars every day to cover the repo market. That is what's been happening behind the scenes, but nobody talks about that, right? Very few people understand these markets, and because they don't understand these markets, these people can continue to do the shenanigans that they do. But that's what's happening in the repo market. So we always knew that the stock market was about to collapse. It didn't. The coronavirus is not responsible for that 30+% that the stock market is losing right now. This market was going to have a summary death. No matter what, they were going to try to keep it pasted, glued together until after the election, because Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, and all these guys are under the thumb of Donald Trump, and the intent of all of this was to make sure that all of this was held up until after the election, and right before the election, these bad people were going to sell out and leave all of those people with 401ks and everybody holding the bag. But guess what happened? Coronavirus happened. Coronavirus happened, people. And that exacerbated the decline. And not only did it exacerbate the decline, to put it bluntly, it has given the thugs, the financial thugs, an excuse for a market crash. A crash that was going to happen anyway because the market is built on a facade, it's built on speculation, it's built on nothing real. Nothing real. Mr. Ledo just wrote, I am always amazed when Egberto spews ignorance and lies with no shame. But ironically, he's unable to tell what lies I am currently telling shamelessly. Is it the repo market that you think I'm lying about? Is it the crash that's going to occur, which is occurring now that I'm lying about? By the way, I spoke about the repo market several months ago, specifying as well in the blog that I wrote that the market was going to crash after receiving some info from other good listeners who are in the financial markets. So please, Mr. Ledo, in your infinite wisdom, I would be happy if you were to tell me, sir, what do you think I am lying about? And to put it bluntly, we have a telephone number, 646-716-5812. As a keyboard warrior, you generally have a lot to say. Give me a call. Let's see what you tell the audience. We have a large one. Come on, let us see, my friend. Anyhow, folks, so continuing. Our market is one of the biggest frauds, where an utterance, somebody just says something, like this guy Achman just said something the other day about, let's shut down America for 1 month. That's what he went on CNBC to say. I wanted people to go check to see what stock options he had when he went on to CNBC to say, let's stop all business for a month. And then the stock market tanked. I bet he had options out. I almost bet he had options out. I didn't realize that the stream was choppy. Michael Rudnan, if you can try it on Facebook, see if it's also choppy on Facebook, because I think what could be happening is that given that everybody is home and everybody is now using the internet, it could be that we have some issues there. Good, though, is that not only do I transmit this online, I also record this, which means that I will be able to go ahead and add that to the, I would be able to give you a clean copy afterwards as well. Okay, by the way, my Facebook folks, if it's choppy, let me know as well. And then, like I said, there will be a version of this that is cleaned up because it's also recorded locally, which means it doesn't go through the issues with the internet. Anyhow, folks, so if it was not a gamble, say based on something of real value, that could not happen. In other words, somebody couldn't go on CNBC and say, we need to do X, Y, Z, and then the market tanks. That means the market is just a speculative instrument. Just a speculative instrument. Okay, those who run our markets produce no product. Let's remember this, folks. I want you guys to understand this. The titans of finance, the people that Mitch McConnell and the Republicans are trying to buffer right now, these guys create no products, no service, nothing of value. But everything that they do affect us, right? They make nothing of value. Think about a stockbroker and ask yourself, what does he do to make a living? How is he contributing to our economy other than making money off of the money of others? Think about it. You see? So let's be very, very, very clear as far as what's going on now. Now, in general, by the way, let's continue here. Those who run our market produce no product or service or value. Yet the games they play affect all of our lives. A small number of investment bankers who produce zilch. They produce nothing. Let's not make any mistakes about that. These people produce nothing in our society. Now, why do we continue to cede power to them? Let's acknowledge our worth. Let's empower ourselves during this reinflation, knowing that we are the economy it can be democratized. We can democratize our own economy. And we must democratize our own economy. We are all home now, or not all home, because I want to, again, I thank all you guys that are out there. I thank you guys that are out there. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. So is Facebook still jumpy for those of you that are in the chat room right now? Is Facebook jumpy for you or not? Just say yes, no for me, and then because I'm concerned about that. And on those of you that are on YouTube or Periscope, let me know that as well, please. Anyhow, so we have to be cognizant of those issues. So why am I bringing this up? I am bringing this up specifically because, as it turns out, in Congress right now, they're fighting over a new stimulus. For those of you who remember 2008, we remember the trillions of dollars that went to bankers. They say, oh, well, we paid it back with interest. Yeah, we know you paid it back with interest. But how many people who lost their homes would have loved that better deal? How many people would have loved a no-interest deal, a low-interest deal, before they lost their homes, before they lost their properties? They were not rewarded by having those options. So when you talk about they paid it back, there were a lot of them that paid it back, but there are a lot that didn't pay it back either. Now we are back to a stimulus again. It seems like this is a thing that comes every 10 years, right? So here we go. We're trying to reinflate the market. And what are the crooks, the politicians? I'm sorry for calling them. Well, the crooks. What are they trying to do? They're trying to do the same thing that they did before again. So what I have, this one isn't in the blog of the week, but this one is in the article that from Politico that I think we need to take a look at. And let me go to that. Well, that's not the particular article. What the Politico is saying is as follows, because this is some serious stuff, right? The Politico article is titled "Dems Seize on Slush Fund to Oppose Republican Rescue." To oppose Republican rescue. And it goes as follows. As Senate Democrats the subtitle is, Senate Democrats ripped a GOP proposal to give the Trump administration $500 billion in funds for companies with little oversight. As Senate Democrats went to the floor Sunday night to vote, the first time they'd been there in days, they had one thing on their minds: a secret slush fund for corporate America. That's what Democrats are calling a $500 billion exchange stabilization fund, included in the massive Senate GOP proposal to rescue the U.S. economy from the coronavirus crisis. The fund, which should come under the control of the Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, is designed to aid distressed industries. It includes $58 billion for the U.S. airline and air cargo companies, a source of significant controversy during the last 3 days of closed-door talks between senators of both parties. But the language drafted by Senate Republicans also allow Mnuchin to withhold the names of the companies that receive federal money and how much they get for up to 6 months, if so decided. I want you to understand what they're doing there, my brothers and sisters. Notice what they're saying. We have a $500 billion fund within this $1.8 trillion or more relief package. $500 billion reserved for corporations, some businesses that, corporations, of which more than 10%, $58 billion for the airline companies. Okay. But as we are giving this money away, we don't want to tell you the names of these companies. There are going to be hotels and casinos and all of that. Why do you think that clause is in there? Why don't they want to tell you the names? Because Donald Trump is going to personally get a bunch of money from the slush fund for the that's made for corporations. I mean, he owns hotels that are now, they were tanking before, they're now in the cesspool because nobody's going. And with an election coming, the last thing, thank you very much, Mr. Rudnin, the last thing that they want during an election year is to hear Democrats or anybody say, hey, Here we have this big stimulus package, and several $billions are going into Donald Trump's hotel in relief. Do you understand what we're saying here? Why would they be holding out to make sure that out of this slush fund that they created, that somehow now you can't tell the names? Here is a taxpayer money going to corporations, and you can't tell that we're giving Boeing 58, or rather, we're giving the airlines 58 billion, this other company another billion, this other company. No, no, no. That is what they want to do. And Democrats are saying no. If you want to give a corporation money, you got to tell us who the corporation is. If you want us to give the corporations money, 828, if you, I see your call. If you want to be online, please go ahead and hit the number 1 so I know that you want to speak. If you want to do that, right? If you want to take government money, we the people's money, you have to make sure to pass some tests. You're not going to lay off people. You're not going to have stock buybacks. Stock buybacks is equivalent to us saying, take the poor taxpayers' money and give it to rich people who own stocks. And as they buy back stocks, the stock has a lot more value. Okay, what I'm going to do now is interrupt what I'm talking about to bring in one of the owners of our show, because the show belongs to you. Please feel free. Call 646-716-5812 and 828. You are on. Talk to me.
Hi, Egberto. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's Hope in North Carolina. I hope that you're doing great.
Great. We're doing great. Talk to me. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Just a quick comment. You know, I finally have shut the White House press conferences off because they just got too upsetting. And I wanted to, let everybody know that if you want to look at some good examples of great leadership, if you feel like you have to get your daily coronavirus fix for 30 minutes or whatever, tune into Governor Cuomo and what he's doing in New York. And another great star is Andy Beshear, who runs the state of Kentucky. I think there's some really great examples of leadership coming out of those states.
I am so happy that you brought that up because I watch Governor Cuomo every day. I'm not a fan of Governor Cuomo, but you know how good he's handling this business when somebody that is not a fan is watching him every day and respecting the leadership that he's bringing to New York and, to put it bluntly, to the nation.
Right. I agree. And I also wanted to give you a compliment, too. I think that on your show, you should have people call in and just talk about coronavirus because just like them, Egberto, you're a great example of fantastic leadership. I mean, you've gotten a lot of us through the last several years, and I just want to give a shout out to you, and I hope that you're staying well, and thank you for doing what you do.
Anytime, that is the highest of compliments, bar none. I appreciate that because, I'm doing well. By the way, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I don't think North Carolina is really under a mandatory lockdown yet, but I'm acting as if it is. My husband has to go to work occasionally, but he's over 60, and so otherwise we would have given N95 masks to the hospital, but he's got one that he needs to wear at work, and he's using goggles and gloves. And then when he comes home from work, he kind of just sort of strips at the door and runs in the shower, and we wash the clothes. And the only way you can really get around it is sort of to be a purist about it with a decontamination process. It's really contagious. So I'm just hoping that all your listeners are being really careful, and I know that we'll get through it. But it was just important to me today to kind of call you and let you know that we really appreciate you and your show and the leadership that you provide as well.
Thank you so kindly. That means more to me than you could possibly know. So thank you so kindly for your kind words.
You bet. And you have a great day.
You too now. Bye-bye. Folks, thank you again. You guys are great because we are all in this together. We are all in this together, and that is what we're going to ultimately have to do. And I'm glad. And you know what? She opened the segue well, let me finish with the piece that I was reading first. Sometimes, like I said, you all come first. So anybody who calls me can interrupt me at any time, whatever I'm doing, because like I said, you are the priority. Anyhow, continuing. And by the way, you can give me a call, 646-716-5812. Again, that is 646-716-5812. And again, yes, we can talk coronavirus, anything that you want to add, anything that you want others to hear. And by the way, this may be one of the shows that we go ahead and put on KPFT as well. So please, 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 if you have information, let us know. But anyway, going back to the stimulus now. So we are with that $500 slush fund, right? Folks, it's amazing to me that we always want to make companies whole, right? We don't want to give unemployment insurance. We don't want to give permanent unemployment insurance for those people who are searching whenever they're searching. We don't want to give Medicare for all for those people who must have health care. But whenever a corporation, which also is a person, remember, corporate personhood, so says the Supreme Court, they get health care. Their health care is, as soon as they need money, the government is generally there to step in. So, this is what I wanted to tell you guys, and I've just been thinking about this, the hypocrisy of our system. What we have, people say, oh, you're trying to create a socialist state. No, I'm trying to create a free enterprise state with a very strong social safety net. But here's what's going on, my friends. Here's what's really, really happening. And folks, if you're listening to us on YouTube, you can also go ahead and give us a super chat to help support the program. But here's what I'm saying. Just click on the $ for the super chat. Here's what I'm saying. If you really want to help the people, right? And if you really believe in free enterprise, what you would do is you'd say, okay, we are a real democracy. We went ahead and created an economy that is failing now. We have to pump this economy up. How can we do it? Give the people the money, right? And then let the people vote with their money, right? If the airline industry is to survive after Corona, people will fly. If whatever industry wants to survive, the people have money now. They will vote with their money. Isn't that what you guys always say? The people vote with their money. What you really mean is if people vote with the last of their monies. That's what many of these corporations really want. They don't want the government to provide anything. They don't want we the people to give we the people anything. They want to take over as much as they can from we the people. I'm not being facetious here. I'm not being overreactive here. Because note this, Mitt Romney supported giving every American $1,000 or $1,200, something like that, a Republican. The only time a Republican, Mitt Romney, had within his vernacular to go ahead and provide this to Americans was because of what I just said. They've already proven that business cannot exist without us. We've always said that. Americans have not always acted that way. We've not always acted that way. We've not always acted that they must have us to become rich. But there's no Bill Gates without Anna. There's no Bill Gates without Troy. There's no Bill Gates without Joseph Pitters. There's no Bill Gates without Troy Astro, Lawrence Simmons, Michael Rudnin. There is no corporations. Bill Gates, none of these guys could have been rich without you. And you know what else? They have, look, yeah, they may be a bit, they've decided to do something that they wanted to do and be successful. I don't want to take away their success at all. But the extraordinary amount of capital that they have been able to accumulate could not have been done without you and without you giving them the opportunity and authority to be able to accumulate that. Because do remember, an economy is man-made. So I need you to remember things like that. I need you to understand that this is how our system works. But beforehand, it's kind of late into the show, and I need to go ahead and ask you guys to remember to support Politics Done Right. And how can you support Politics Done Right. You can support Politics Done Right by going to our store. You can go to store.politicsdoneright.com and get a t-shirt, get a cup, get one of our books. I have As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. If you want to learn about the economy, get the book and you can figure it out. You can also get it at Amazon or any other bookstore or whatever. But of course, if you go to store.politicsdoneright.com, you take out the middleman and you make sure you give a little bit more to Politics Done Right. And of course, guys, I've had my weight problems, and with staying home, I'm having to remember all the things I spoke about in this book because I don't want to stay in front of the refrigerator and keep eating to blow it up again. Anyhow, so go ahead and please go to, again, to store.politicsdoneright.com. But more than anything else, what I would love to do is I want us to build our posse. And our posse means getting a whole lot of subscribers from $1.99 to a little bit more, or as much as you want to do. So if you go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright, again, that is patreon.com/politicsdoneright, become a member. I ask you so kindly, let's help me get to 1,000 members. That's what I really, really need, because I really need a producer. I really need a writer. We need a whole lot of stuff right now that I'm doing 16 hours a day. So, I would love to get down to 12 hours a day. Sometimes I'm doing 18 hours a day. I would love to get down. Cutting videos and all that kind of stuff is a whole lot of work. I'd love to get some help there. If we can get to 1,000 subscribers, we can get there. Another way you support, if you want to support our equipment fund, we can do that going to patreon.com/independent-media-upgrade. Again, that is gofundme.com/independent-media-upgrade. All right, and you can also contribute via PayPal. And how do you do that? You can go to, and I'm putting all these links in the message, folks. You can go to paypal.me/politicsdoneright. Again, that is paypal.me/politicsdoneright. And again, don't forget, go to our store and get a cup, get a t-shirt, get a book. And I think we have some other stuff there as well. And, all kinds of things to really help the program move on. So I ask you so kindly, support us. Let's make sure that we are ready and informed about what's going on. So what I want to ask you folks today is this, a task. I got a task. I got a real task. Please, you still have time. The laws haven't passed. And after this stimulus, there has to be another one. It's not going to end here. What we need to understand going forward is that we are the ones in control. Especially now that election is in November. We need to start calling these senators, calling these Congress people, and start talking about first of all, we want this to be a person-centric stimulus. Elizabeth Warren is saying right now she wants to go ahead and talk about student debt. Why does she want to even include student debt in this stimulus package? Because you know what? This economy is not coming back quickly. Donald Trump wants to tell you that this is going to be a quick recovery. This cannot be a quick recovery because, as I told you earlier on, what was happening is that we were just waiting for a reason for a crash. The repo market, the thing that very few people talk about, was in distress long before this market. In other words, the guys on the inside knew exactly what was going on. And so we need to understand that this crash was coming. Oh, wow, Daniel Ladeau. You mean, I didn't realize you represented the government, Daniel. Wow. Amazing. Anyhow, so I want to play you something real here because, Donald Trump likes to talk about responsibility, right? Well, recently at a press conference, he made a statement, and I want you to check it out. Let me make sure I get the right video because I've been a little bit errant today on some of my videos. Forgive me for that. I see one that I'm going to have to sort of edit out in a minute. But anyhow, he's been there for 3 years, 2 months. But somehow, it is still Obama's fault. Check this out. Listen to what Donald Trump now had to say about what was there before. This is how the liar in chief is really attempting to change the conversation to that he had to come in and fix a government that he destroyed, and why it is now the private sector stepping up. Check this out.
Just so you know, just for the probably 100th time, this administration, inherited an obsolete, broken, old system that wasn't meant for this. We discarded that system, and we now have a new system that can do millions of people as you need them. But we had to get rid of a broken, old system that didn't work. It worked only on a very limited basis. And we're very proud of what we've done. It's incredible what we've done. And this system will now serve for the future, for future problems. Hopefully you don't have a problem like this, but something will come up. We have now a great system, and it's almost fully in gear, but it's able to test millions of people. But we inherited a broken, old, frankly, a terrible system. We fixed it, and we've done a great job. And we haven't been given the credit that we deserve, that I can tell you. But the one that really deserves the credit are the American people, because they are doing things that nobody thought they would do. What they're doing is incredible, and we're making a lot of progress, and we'll see you folks tomorrow. Thank you very much.
This is a president in office for 3 years and 2 months. Today makes it 3 years and 2 months. He only has 10 more months in office. So he's well over the half of his administration. And to come out and say the reason we were not able to handle this pandemic, it was because he was left a bad system. But no, the system now is yours. You've been there 3 years and 2 months. And not only that, you disbanded the pandemic department. So how do you explain that it is somebody else's fault? Talk about irresponsibility. He is trying to put that narrative into those who have a shallow mind and just believe his word. He needed to say something that sounded plausible to the uninformed. Well, you know what our job is, my brothers and my sisters? It is our job to inform. It is our job to make sure there are not a whole lot of folks that are uninformed. That is your job. That is my job. That is our job. Because all those people that are going to buy the crap up, they are our brothers and sisters as well. I got a text from my good friend, Patricia De Galani. She has a new word to add to my vocabulary. And the word is COVIDiot. COVIDiot. A stupid person who stubbornly ignores social distancing protocol, thus helping to further spread COVID-19. Are you seriously going to visit grandma? Dude, don't be such a COVIDiot. That's how you use it. Number 2. A stupid person who hoards groceries needlessly, spreading COVID-19 fears and depriving others of vital supplies. How can you use that in a sentence? See that guy with the 200 toilet paper rolls? What a COVIDiot. I love it. Patricia De Galani, you know, you have given me, I got 3 great laughs this morning. And you know what? When you're locked up in the house knowing that you're not going to be leaving for a few days, there's nothing like getting a good laugh, you know, staying happy. You know what I think I'm going to do? Later on, I'm going to just come on and have a rap session when people, well, you know what? I'm saying people are not home. People should be home. But you know what is the last thing they want to do? Thinking about the reason why they're home. I understand that. Because I noticed today, let's see, our crowd, we don't have as big a crowd as we normally have today. But you know what? I think when we start talking about COVIDiot, people are going to get it. Anyhow, let me go to the chat room and then I'll if we have some time later on, I'll go into something else. Okay, Michael Rodnin said, is this going to be about these Florida Beach kids who don't care about spreading coronavirus? No, Senor Rodnin. I mean, those folks on the beach, you know how kids are. They feel invincible. What we have to do is we got to talk to them and get them off the beaches. And I think it's starting to worry. I mean, I saw Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez came on and really went on to, I think it was ABC, and try to convince them that that is not what they should be doing. Okay, Michael Rodnin, Egberto, your opening intro song is awful. Do you realize you're telling me I'm a terrible composer, Mr. Rodnin? I wrote that. I played that. Oh my God. So I tell you what, guys, Posse, come up with a new theme. Come up with a new theme song. I'm ready to take it. Fadra Barker, hi from Orne. Where is Orne? Orne, I think is probably how you say it. Troy Astro, I am used to getting bored. Just wait until the virus go away. All right. Bruce, it only lasts a moment. I think you mean the music. Yeah, it only lasts for about a minute or so. So, I have some other stuff I got to do. So if anybody wants to compose a piece of music for me, send it out to me. Okay, Haiti Lescan, love one another is not a religious concept. It's a moral concept. You're actually right. It's just that the piece of the video that I got, Haiti, was from a church, his church service that I was watching on one Sunday. Olstein is the least of the prosperity gospel preachers. For after the show is over, I'll check it out. I'll check it out, Michael Rodnin. Okay, Troy Astro says Olstein has finally hit the mark. Hola, Ashley Mosley, ¿cómo estás, mi hermana? Mi hermana de, I think, Third Ward, que sabe cómo hablar español. Welcome aboard, Ashley. Troy Astro, you have a good accent. Are you Hispanic? Soy Latino, hermano. No me gusta hispano, me gusta Latino, porque soy del Caribe también. All right, Michael Rodnin says, Egberto's from Panama. You got that right, Rodnin. Okay, those who are working, providing essential services during a crisis that threatens the health are heroes, all right? Yes, and we owe them so much. All you guys that are out there, the grocery store guys, the guys that are picking up my garbage, the guys that are doing all these things, love you. We could not work, we could not exist without all of you serving the services all of you provide. Thank you. You are much more important to anyone than their own stockbrokers, than anything. I tell you what, they could live without their stockbrokers. God, most of their stockbrokers probably hiding somewhere. You guys are out there doing what needs to be done. Thank you, and that comes from the depths of the heart. The depths of the heart. Okay, those who are working, providing essential services, you're right. Okay, let's see. Lawrence Sim says, just knows. I'll read that later, Lawrence. We should reward these heroes with living wages and universal health care. And you know what else I said? This is what I think I wrote this somewhere. I don't know where I put it. But I said, we should also give these guys hazard pay. I remember my father was a fireman. And my father used to talk about, we were in Panama, right? But we're Panamanians working for the American government in Panama. And a lot of the Panamanians who work for the American government used to kind of get mad because the Americans who work in Panama got something called hazard pay or differential pay and all of that, as if it was a hazard to work in the tropics. I mean, you had a nice house, you had air conditioning, you had everything for the Americans that came to Panama, but they got hazard pay, man. It's just amazing, just amazing. Anyhow, just an off comment, guys. CDC says, Rodnin says, CDC says any indoor public gathering of 50 people or more should be canceled unless essential. I agree wholeheartedly. Rodnin said, Republican using a crisis for opportunism. You hit the nail on the head. We need to, you know what, Rodnin, we need to learn how to do that as well. Let me see if that's what you're saying. I'm usually an idealist on this topic, but not today. Every delay puts too many lives at risk. Okay, Congress needs to find a compromise on this. I agree, where the bulk of the stimulus goes to the people and the necessary services, even if that means some vulture corporations. Look, I don't have a problem with that. What I do want to make sure is that we also learn to do exactly what they always do. In effect, they're holding a lot hostage. Let's learn how to do it with a smile. Let's see now. Troy Astro, nobody makes money out of hysteria. That's true. Daniel Lado says, I'm always amazed when Egberto spews ignorance and lies with no shame. Of course, he was unable to provide any of the lies that specifically I am talking about. All right, let's see. Para ver. Michael Dean, mine's fine. Thank you, Michael. Facebook has problems too. It's from Bruce. Avan John, welcome aboard, Avan John. Daniel says, hey, Daniel, come call me on my show where I hold all the power. Yeah, right. No. Come on, Daniel. You've been listening to this show long enough to understand that I don't cut people off. I let you say whatever you want to say as long as you're not using profanities and that sort of stuff. So that is not true. If you want to be on this show, the show belongs to our listeners. And I love to hear from you. You can come on and say whatever you want to say, including refuting anything that I have to say. So no, that is not true. I think you're just concerned that you don't have the backing to come and say the things that you want to say. And as much as, you can say whatever you want on the show. All right. Troy Astro, I try to call Donald Trump a clown because it's offensive to Troy? El Señor Astro? That is funny. Michael Rudnin says, replying to Michael Rudnin, Michael Rudnin replying to Michael Rudnin. That's what Democrats are calling $500 billion exchange stabilization fund, included in a massive Senate GOP proposal to rescue U.S. economy from the coronavirus crisis. The fund, which would come under the control of Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, is designed to aid distressed industries. It includes $58 billion for U.S. airline and air cargo companies, a source of significant controversy during at least the 3 days of closed-door talk. And of course it is. They're not shipping stuff, so it's not like they have a lot of expensive. Now their employees a different thing. All right, Egberto, I'll share this later. Thank you, my brother. Troy Asher said, Wall Street is closed. How is these buybacks legal? Hey, they're legal. That's all I can tell you. They're legal. Replying to big auto file typo, 2.3 billion, not 2.3 trillion. Yeah, I think that was true. I think you're right there, Troy. Mr. Rudnin, I think you're right. Okay. Lauren says Kamala Harris is trying to make it where he can not get paid. A reporter asked him about it, and he went off about how much he's losing by being POTUS. Oh, sure. He was never winning anything. He's a fraud. He's never done much. Joseph Pitters, the Republicans are looking out for themselves and the big corporations. We need to put the people first with the stimulus package. From your words to America's psyche, my brother. Troy Astro, corporate personhood. What a joke. You're right about that. Michael Rodnan, I'm surprised if anyone flies right now. For the next 5 months during the peak of coronavirus pandemic, airplanes are a closed indoor gathering. No kidding. So you're right. So it technically speaking, it breaks the laws. And to my great listeners, Mr. Ledo, you heard it first. Mr. Ledo says, Mr. Daniel Ledo says, my donation of $1,000 is on its way. The U.S. governor is sending it out. Wow. And you're going to take it, Daniel? Mr. Tea Party? Come on now. Michael Rudnin, quick recovery not possible. The pandemic hasn't hit its peak. Thank you, Rudnin. That is what they don't understand. That's what Donald Trump says. Oh, people, if you're not feeling too sick, you can go to work. Put a mask on. Wow. Remember what I said. Our economic system is not designed for humanity. Just remember that all the time. And remember that an economic system is not divine, it is man-made. And we can come up with a humane economic system if we had the courage to do so. And listening to what Olstein said earlier, I would love to use those words that he so eloquently talked about the donkey and tell us, let's start doing it ourselves. Lawrence Sims and trying to destroy Obamacare. Yes, I wrote about that today. And Michael Rudnin, COVIDiot, nice term. Folks, we're at the end of the show. I want to again, once more, encourage you to please join us by going to our store.politicsdoneright.com. As well, please subscribe at patreon.com/politicsdoneright. It's in the message again. That is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. You can support our fund, our equipment fund, by going to gofundme.com/independent-media-upgrade, or going directly to support us via PayPal, where you can give a one-time contribution, or you can do a series that is at paypal.me/politicsdoneright. Support independent media. We are here to tell you the truth. We are here to get rid of the spin. We are here to encourage you, enlighten you, empower you. It's all mutual. Because, folks, we need it now. Please do remember, please share these programs. Please make sure other people see it. Please, let's expand the network of progressive media. We do our best as well by promoting the common dream. If you notice, a lot of what we write in our blogs refers to common dreams, daily coast, op-ed news, and these other rags. Thank you very much for having been here, Mr. Rudnin. And the reason we do this is we need to have the alternate media out there, alternate.com. We also have, we need to have all these independent outlets with a voice, because what we have is catered by the corporatocracy. My name is Egberto Willies, and this is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby? I am out. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel, and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.